Okay, good evening, KFL land, familia, and we'd like to welcome everyone to our show tonight. As we get started to welcome our newest team to KFL, I want to start with this team's captain, the team owner, Randy Newton. Good evening, Randy. How you doing tonight?
Hello, welcome, and hello everybody out there in KFL land. How's everybody doing?
For the rest of the team members, give yourself a quick shout out, an intro. I'd like to introduce you, the Deep South Kraken. So starting with you, Randy O'Neill.
Hey guys, what's up?
Tell us about yourself.
Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot, I guess.
I had to, man. I had to. This is baptism by fire.
There you go. So I've been kayak fishing probably 9 years, I guess. I've been with Randy about that long. We met a long time ago and started fishing, and still with him. So I'm glad to be a part of this team. And look forward to it.
The crew from the get-go, you guys, you and Randy both.
Yeah.
Are there any other team members before we get to you guys? Is there anyone else that started that? Oh, so Tim as well.
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The three amigos, huh? Which one's Chevy Chase?
Oh, that would be Tim for sure.
Is that, so at least you got to figure it out, huh? All right, perfect. Hey, Ryan, I appreciate it so much. Randy, go ahead and give me an intro real quick, buddy.
Yeah, I'm Randy Newton. I am currently the owner and founder of Kayak Anglers of Florida and the amazing team owner for the Kraken here. The past 10 years has been a labor of love, creating a trail series down here in Florida, and now we're excited to be part of this, to become part of an organization that is now all about teams and getting the teams together. So
absolutely it is, and you're going to find out just how much. Plus, it brings a lot of that good diversity back out to the surface that everyone loves and craves so much, especially if you are prior law enforcement, former military or active law enforcement as well. We know how that kind of wires this a little bit differently for that competition, that competitive spirit that we all have deep down inside. So
that's right.
Appreciate it so much. Moving on to Tim. I don't want to butcher your last name, Tim.
It's Q-Salis.
Q-Salis.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect.
So, hey, on cue, Tim.
Yeah, well, Tim Q-Salis. I'm from deep South Florida here. Actually, I used to do bass fishing, mainly by boat until I met Randy. And I vowed I'd never fish from a kayak because they were uncomfortable. Then he introduced me to a comfortable kayak, and he got me going, and I've been fishing with him ever since.
What kayak do you have?
Right now, I have the Native.
Okay. Yeah. Nobody's perfect. That's okay. I'm sorry to say out loud. Any bona fide members?
You got one all the way on the other end down there.
All the way down. Chris, are you bona fide?
Sean.
Mark.
I have a couple bona fides, actually. Two 127s. Yeah.
You do? Yeah, the 127. I'm 6'8", so I have to have a kayak that's super, super long, but that Titan it's too beefy for me. I like to be streamlined as well when you get on the river. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I understand. It's a barge, but I like it. I've had them so long.
Yeah, my buddy's got an Old Town. He's one of my teammates too, Will. He's got an Old Town. I like those, but again, it's just too much beef on the water. That bona fide is perfect for me to be streamlined the way I need it, but definitely appreciate it.
Yeah,
Sean,
you're talking to the Hobie crowd.
Yeah, I can tell. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love a Hobie. I do. It's actually one of my favorites. So Pro Angler 12, if I had to get a second one, I would have to pull the trigger on a Pro Angler. So yeah, I know, right? Give me the nod. That's okay. So Team Hobie, right? Maybe you could give a shout out for the sponsor on that for this year, next year, right?
There we go.
So moving on to you, Sean.
All right. I'm Sean Spears. I'm actually active duty military, so I've moved around, originally from West Virginia. I spent a lot of time in North Carolina and South Carolina, so that's kind of where I really got into tournament fishing, but I was out of a boat also. I had a nitro bass boat, and about a year before I moved down to Florida, about 3 years ago, I kind of dabbled into the kayak scene, and then I got down here to Miami, and I bought a bona fide 127, which I still have. I have two of them. Currently, I'm fishing out of the Old Town Big Water 132, and I just got lucky. I was searching the internet one day, and I found calf, and I think I emailed Randy or sent him a message on Facebook Messenger, and he's like, "Yeah, by all means, join up." And I think they had already fished our first tournament at Okeechobee, which we were talking about yesterday. Ryan pulled off the win on that one.
Oh, really?
He squeaked out a win on that one.
Hey, a win's a win, is it not?
So right now I'm down the rabbit hole. I'm hooked. Like, I don't think I'll probably sell my boat. It's sitting up in storage up in Fayetteville, North Carolina right now. So
Fort Bragg, 82nd.
Yep.
That's my stomping grounds.
I've been there about 12, 13 years total out of my like 18 and a half. So I've spent a lot of time there.
Just out of curiosity, may I ask which unit? You don't have to say it over there right now if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. 2nd Brigade was all but like 6 months of it. I was in 3rd Brigade, 3 Panther for about 6 months, and they disbanded when they were doing the restructuring of the brigades. And I ended up in the Arista Squadron. So, and then it was, I've been every battalion in 2nd Brigade. So,
MP?
What's that?
MP?
No, I'm an infantryman.
No, you're 11 series? Are you a Bravo?
I'm 11 Bravo, yeah. Technically, I'm 11 Zulu now that I'm E8. I'm about to start the Sergeant Major's Academy this summer. So
congratulations. And thank you for your service, by the way. Yeah. I my first year in the military was 11 Bravo down in Sand Hill, 1st and the 14th. But yeah, 327 FAR. I love that movie too, by the way. And you're so right. I was a 13 Mike. So let me tell you, sitting in that launcher, it's just like that. Best damn job.
I believe it.
Yeah, best job. Thank you so much again. Mark, moving on to you.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay? I was a little late jumping on here. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm originally from Massachusetts, moved down here to Florida. Well, first for college and then, several years later for, just to live down here for a job actually. And so it's been 7-8 years now since that. And as far as fishing goes, I've been, bass fishing since I was pretty young. Obviously in Massachusetts, a little bit different, but coming down here is when I actually got into kayak fishing. I started with an Ascend 128 and ended up strapping a trolling motor on the side of that. And then, started moving up from there. Now I have an older Hobie, 14-foot Hobie PA. So
it's a big yak.
Been going good, and jumped on with KAF a few years ago, and kind of got into club fishing with them, and love it. So glad to be on board, and I know all these guys somewhat from KAF, so it's it's a cool group. I think
you're about to get to know them a lot better. Let me tell you, a lot better. So, just out of curiosity, what do you love about the sport of kayak fishing, especially when it comes to the team side of the house?
So I'm always been an athlete, always been extremely competitive. So anything that involves that, but especially on a team with a team environment and knowing these guys and knowing what each of them is capable of and has done over the last few years, I have no doubts that we're going to do really well. And that's really what drew me to this. And I'm really excited. Kind of last minute jumping into it, but certainly from the first hearing of it from Ryan, I was pretty fired up.
You were hooked?
Oh yeah.
So does that mean you're going to pull out a win for against your first what is it? Copperheads?
Oh yeah, we can't go throwing that one out there yet. That's it. We need to just get out there and fish first.
Okay, so you got to get a little bit of concept of what everyone's doing as far as the team first.
Exactly.
Kind of analyze and assess and go from there. I get it. I totally get it.
Yep.
I would do the same thing. I really would, especially in Florida. You're level in the playing field. It's not like you would have anyone coming from Massachusetts down to Florida to try to fish. Where you have a completely different type of environment, especially when you talk about the Florida strain of bass. They don't live as long as the northern bass, but they definitely get a hell of a lot bigger, as we all know. So,
yes.
So outstanding. I appreciate it. Chris, moving on to you, sir.
How you doing? My name's Chris Mitchell. I was born in Virginia, raised down here in Florida since I was like 6 or something. So this is all I really know, really. Always fished in a boat. So I only got into kayak fishing about 2 to 3 years ago. I just wanted to try something and see how it went. I found my first charity tournament. It was like a canned food drive tournament at Lake Kissimmee, which I go to all the time. And this was before Kayak Anglers of Florida was brought up. And after that tournament went on, there were some people talking about that trail coming up, and I just jumped on board as soon as I heard about that. And then the rest is history. It's just been fishing with Kayak Anglers of Florida for about 2 to 3 years now. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride. I've been through a bunch of different kayaks because I like my certain thing. I've been through Old Town, Ascend. I've had bona fide. And I found my place with a Hobie. I'm in a PA 12 360. So
Wow.
that's a fun kayak.
Look
Well,
at Chris. Look at Chris.
And Jim, just to give you a little heads up about Chris too, he's our 2-time champion of our trail series over the past 2 years.
Woo!
He's also
Back to
been an angler of the year this last year for our club, and he's really put in some incredible numbers. And he's trying to make a run at number 3. So, well, it's.
I
good
gotta
to see.
say, I'd like to wish you luck on that. But being a Warhawk, I don't know if I would have wished you luck on that. I really don't. No, it's all good. Seriously, though. I do.
Thank
I
you,
wish you
thank
the
you.
best when it comes to catching stuff out there. I'm glad that you're humble. But I definitely wanted to hear about that kind of stuff. I want to know what you do have under your belt. It's actually one of my questions I go through, and I would ask, what do you have under your belt? You know, what are the wins? What are the titles? Not that really makes a difference as much as it does bringing credibility to the sport of kayak fishing. But it also brings up the question, why switch from a boat over to a yak? And for me, it's because you're more intimate with the water. You're closer. You can get into areas, obviously, where other boats can't get. And for me personally, I love having everything readily accessible. It's like my one little man ship. And yes, we are all captains by trade, as if you will. All right. But this is what makes it competitive, because this is what really gives everyone a unique advantage to where they can model everything. Not that a bass boat doesn't, but let's call it like it is. I mean, for me, a bass boat is a bass boat is a bass boat is a bass boat. Now, with that being said, does that mean if we come down from Virginia, because you said you're from Virginia, right? What part?
By Richmond. It's a little city called Dale City. It's just probably like an hour away from DC and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm literally right down the road from Dale City. I know exactly where you're at. Yeah,
right, awesome.
My barber's in Dale City.
No, nice.
What's your favorite spot to fish up here?
The last thing I can remember is the Rappahannock. I'm floating down that river with my dad's friend. And it's pretty much who got me into fishing. It was from him. So that's all I can really remember. I don't go up there too often. So.
No, I was just wondering, because I'm curious when you do it, when there is any kind of face-off, when it does come to Virginia, I want to know where you're going to go.
Oh, man.
Sorry, man, I had to get that intel. I had to get that intel real quick.
I gotcha.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. So I appreciate it so much. So, Alan, moving on to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Alan Sweat. I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. I've been in South Florida now 25 years. Time flies. I'm originally from Georgia. I can't lose the Southern accent. I grew up in Athens. Bulldog, go Dogs.
I don't hear any Roll Tide in the background, so I think we're good.
No.
Never get rid of that. But yeah, no, I've only been kayak fishing probably 2.5 years. I fished in a bass boat for years, doing, team tournaments and BFLs and that sort of stuff. And just decided, hey, this kayak thing looks really cool. I'm going to try it, see what it's about. Did some online tournaments, and I figured out really quick that I loved it. And the cool thing is it's like the puzzle of finding the fish is exactly the same. The competition and the adrenaline rush is exactly the same as the big bass boat events, And I just love the way that it gets you outdoors and sort of in a solo basis. I mean, it's just like that one-on-one with nature, just grinding it out against the odds. It's really cool.
Do you think it puts you at an advantage being closer to the water in a yak? I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way, because I see guys in the boat screaming past me, and for me, I'm like, oh my god, it's. I'm sure you guys all get the same feeling too. It's like, give me a break, all right? Come slow down. I get it. You're in a boat. I know you're all high and mighty, all right? But lay off me. Like, nobody waking me around like this as I'm floating as you go by me at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's sort of funny, in the boat. You see these guys going in and out with trolling motors, blowing the water up, and I'm worried about dropping something on a plastic kayak, making a little ping, but so you definitely realize, I think, stealth is important, and it just seems like I get a lot of bites, a lot of bites sitting down. I caught more bigger fish out of the kayak than I ever did.
Really? That gives credence to what I'm asking then. So you think about, if you ever watch MLF, you see in a lot of the tournaments that MLF is putting up those numbers, when they're bringing those fish out of the water, they're bringing them up by weight, and they can't touch that boat. If they do touch, they get a 2-minute suspension. They get that that's one of the penalties. But as they're bringing them up, a lot of times they're not that big. They go screaming in on those flats. They go screaming around the points and stuff. For a kayak, when you get in there, if you look at some of our events, you've got guys who are putting monster numbers up, especially this time of year. Of course, as we're getting ready to move into pre-spawn. Obviously, I think Florida, your weather, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are already in pre-spawn or well into spawn, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not even in pre-spawn yet. Well, they're starting to stage. They're not making nets. They're not. I haven't seen any bloody tails lately, and I was just out a couple days ago because we had to turn them up here local. But I guess my point is and being in that kayak, you catch some big bass because, like you just said, Alan, you're stealthy. You are. You're moving in.
You know, it amazes me the number of fish that are shallow. You know, like we fish these national events, you know, behind some of the elite series and stuff, and those guys are fishing offshore doing stuff. And, you know, the guys that win these kayak tournaments are back in backwaters and up creeks. And so there's a whole population of fish that aren't reached by the bass boat crowd that we can reach. And that's another aspect that's cool.
Agreed. Yeah. And I'm like you. I've only been kayak fishing for a few years now. I've been fishing my entire life, but I didn't know this is a completely different fishing. It's not like dad fishing where your dad takes you out, you throw your pole in the water and it's not like that. As you all know, it's completely different. There is a science to it. Thank God.
No, I mean, with KFL, I'm looking forward to the team format. You know, I mean, I've done, you know, a lot of events, you know, individually and stuff. And I just want to learn. I mean, I guarantee you each one of these guys on here is going to teach me a lot. And I want to learn.
I got a feeling that Alan's going to teach us a lot too. That KBF National Invitational winner right there. So I mean, he's going to teach us some things about Florida too.
You know what? Let me see if Chad will answer real quick. Because if that's the case, why didn't you tell me that? You got to tell me these kind of things, Alan. I know you're being humble, but man, that's a lot to brag about. You know, and I'll wait on that one. See if he wants to hop on. That was 2021 last year? 2020?
2020, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Let's see what he says. I don't know if he's going to answer or not. So, all right. I appreciate it so much, Alan. Again, hey, welcome to the team. Welcome to the team as a whole. Chris, tell us about you.
Well, first off, I'm going to apologize for the background noise. My 3 minions are running around. So if you hear like Encanto singing in the background, yeah. I've been fishing my whole life. I actually have known that clown up there, Ryan O'Neill, his whole life. He's my cousin. We grew up fishing together. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we grew up fishing South Florida. We fished everything from canals to storm drains. I've caught fish with him in storm drains down there. So I fished my whole life, typically beating banks and then in a bass boat. But about 5 years ago, Ryan put me in a kayak, an Ascend, and I started fishing the KAF events. And then I started helping out Randy and Ryan with KAF as an official. So I'm hooked, man. I think, like you've talked about, we can be a lot more sneaky than a bass boat. I've definitely caught trophy-sized bass in a kayak, and I just think there's a lot more sport in the game of fishing in a kayak than a bass boat.
I think there is too. Give me 1 second. I'm going to mute for. So every time our front door opens, you hear this ding dong, and the boss is taking the dogs out real quick. Our furry kids. So, yeah, and I wasn't trying to be rude, Chris. I apologize. So,
no, you're good.
Yeah, pretty good. So not only are you family as a team, you are definitely family as being actual relations. So that's going to give you a leg up too, because you got some good secrets you can share across the board, be able to keep each other lockstep, but also have that rivalry that's going on within the team itself, right? Because I would be doing that with my cousin. I'd be calling him out. I would call him out so fast, even though we would be on the same team. You're like, fool, you didn't know what you were doing today, or something like that. You know what I mean?
We do that no matter what.
Everything I know is he taught me everything I know. So, you know, that's how that is.
So are you going to become the teacher?
Sure.
2022.
I was in a kayak first, so I got him into kayaking. So.
See, that's the claim to fame that you have right now. And then later on in the years, you start to reel in those big ones. So, have you guys been out? Have you guys been out here recently? Been on the water recently?
No, actually, we are. We've got some plans to meet up as a team as this month progresses, and then we've got our own trail series stop that we're all mostly going to be meeting at and competing in. So we'll see each other at the ramps and stuff there. But later on at the end of the month, we have an entire weekend where we're all going out. We're going to stay at Tim's Lake House, and we're going to enjoy a weekend of being with the team. getting together, and then also going to go out and hit one of our lakes on one of the days.
Tim Cusalis?
Yeah.
Has a lake house? No
Yeah.
kidding. Wow. Where's the invitation, Tim? I appreciate it, buddy.
Come on down.
So, well, you know, my wife's family's from down in Florida too, down in Jacksonville, and I love Key West, obviously that's the touristy side, but in between there was a lot of room, a lot of space, so really good for swim baits this time of year. So I may have to take up someone on some of the offers they may have if they want to extend them out, so we can come on down there and try to get some of the big Florida strain, because I need something like double digit, and I can only do that down there. It's a rarity up here. You don't have too many double digit that are biting up here, but it's not to say it's unspoken.
That's right.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
got a lot of lakes.
Yeah, I know, right? So with your titles and wins, we were talking about this just a second ago. Chris Mitchell, you said you are, well, it was actually Randy that was doing it for you. He was giving the accolades, but real quick, just a quick overview one more time. What titles did you say you bring?
The 2021 and 2022 championship. I had the 2021 Angler of the Year, and then I've got numerous top tens, couple first place, couple second place.
Okay, well, that's enough. Well, I get it. I'm kidding. That's really good. That's impressive. So numerous top tens. It's funny because you start to meet the other anglers, and I don't see that as being. I see that as a great wealth of knowledge to be able to pull from and try to find and extrapolate the information that I don't know yet, because nobody knows it all, right? You can always learn. If we're not learning, then obviously that day is going to be sad for me. I'm always going to try to learn. What is your favorite style of fishing?
Dragging a speed worm.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Totally. We all knew that.
Everyone knows that. Huh?
That and a jerk bait. I don't know what a jerk bait is just so fun to. If I can
It
find
is.
the right water to use it in, it's my favorite thing to do. But mostly just Texas rig speed worm, just dragging it around.
No kidding. I don't think I've maybe one I've caught on a speed worm. I'm a jerkbait and crankbait guy, but through and through. Swim bait is definitely close to my second, but it's my third. I would rate jig fishing is. I definitely need work on that. And let's call it like it is. I mean, T-rig and jig fishing is where you get some of the biggest fish.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you say that that's what's attributed to your success so far, overall, or collectively with everything that you bring?
I mean, it's my confident bait, so I know I can get a limit with it, and then I'll start throwing stuff out of my sleeve with like stuff that I'm also well versed in. But I don't know. I believe what I believe in is there's a certain lure for a specific spot that you're fishing, and
Agreed.
I will adapt to what I'm fishing, I guess. I don't know.
That's fishing. Is that not fishing as a whole? It is. It's not adaptation as a whole.
Instead of just using one lure all the time, which I mean, it looks like that I am just using one lure the whole time, but I'm not. I'm constantly changing. But yeah, the speed worm does play a big
That's
role.
Your comfort zone. By all means. That's your comfort zone, huh? And then Alan, so real quick, the two heavy hitters on the team so far that I know of, all right, and I got to give props to you, Randy. You know your team very well. And as being the owner and bringing everyone together like that, it definitely says a lot about you and your experience also as being a leader, knowing the ins and outs and all the different details in the background for your anglers. I got to say, it's kind of rare to see that where everyone knows everyone that intrinsically. So, Alan, again, you're bringing to 2020.
Yeah, 2020 Tim Invitational, and a 2020 KBF trail event out on Lake Conway in Arkansas. Had a win out there, and then I had a top 10 in the Hope Seminole last year. So, just looking to keep it rolling. This year, I got to bust through with something this year.
I got a feeling that you're going to do well, and I also know you're going to see a lot of good competition out there. Excuse me, my furry son. Hey, over there now. You'll hear a squeak in just a second. He's going to start squeaking that damn thing. But you have a lot of good stiff competition that's going to be out there. And it's going to be exciting because you have a lot of the teams that are coming up from the Northeast, especially when they start pushing their way down, you're going to see some of the numbers they put up. It's incredible. Last year was my first year to KFL. I fished a little bit with the KBBT. I'm a lifetime member of KBF. I'm also local with the NBKBA, Northern Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers. So you see a lot of bleed over from a lot of different anglers, whether it be KBF into the KFL or KBBT. Usually K is always going to be the front for any of the anglers around for the up and down the East Coast, which is good because you see a lot of the same faces, right? You learn a lot about the other anglers, and you see what that competition also brings to the sport as well, and awareness. And this is why a lot of volunteer work is also really important for me, because when we start to give back for kayak bass fishing, and I say that as a statement and not the actual club itself, and bringing awareness to the sport, we know now we don't do, everything is catch and release. We don't keep big ones. Why? Because it decimates the big numbers. We don't want to do that. Take accurate photographs and let it go, release it. Kind of like there's a guy who pulled out the world record last year. Well, he beat the world record because you have to beat it by 2 ounces. So it's 22.4 from 1932. What's his name? Perry. The guy, he was just casting off the bank and he threw in a little shiner, right? I don't know if you can see it. A little shiner, that was a 3-inch shiner. We're talking about 1932. So that title has stood the time since then. And he got it weighed at a post office. Go figure. So by the time he got it out of the water and got it weighed at a post office, and this is after people told him to go weigh it, right? Think about how much weight that bass had lost, whether, it was because of loss of fluid leaving his body or whatever the case may be. Think about that. So potentially that record would have been a little bit higher. The guy last year, he beat it by 2 ounces, but he didn't want to harvest the fish. And that's why he threw it back. And so in doing that, I give him credit. Could have taken the world title, but he didn't. He kept the spirit of it. So what other titles does your team bring as a whole?
Well, I mean, not to mention that most of these anglers are in the top 10, top 5, and top 3 of all of our series events, pretty much. They've got several wins in individual events, and they also are doing other online tournaments and things like that. Tim and myself, we do a lot of evasive species tournaments down here in South Florida, so we have opportunities to rank in those. So we've got a lot of really good numbered anglers right here in this pod.
Bowfin, I saw you. I think I saw your thing with the bowfin, right? How much does that bowfin weigh?
Oh, we don't do the weight, we do the measurements. So I mean, you're talking 22, 23 inches, and sometimes they're even getting even bigger than that. Yeah, I mean, I think the one that I was holding in the image that you see online, that was, Tim, wasn't that around the 30 mark?
Are you talking the snakehead or bowfin?
The bowfin. The bowfins.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now. Here, let's see if I can pull it up real quick.
So between our snakeheads, the bowfins, and the clown knives, Tim and I are very active in fishing for all the invasive species down here.
I've actually.
Let's see if I can pull up the tab real quick.
In the canal here.
What do you say there, Alan? Go ahead, repeat that.
I said I've got peacocks on the bed right now, in the canal behind me right now.
That's it. We're going to Alan's house. Let's go.
That's the next meeting's his house for peacocks.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually on the bucket list. And her family, my wife is Brazilian. Her family keeps inviting me down there to go catch some of the big bass and those peacocks. I've never caught one. And by the way, here's that bowfin. That's a beautiful.
That is actually a bullseye snakehead down here in Florida.
Get out of here. It looks like a bowfin. You're right.
Yeah.
So you know what? Mea culpa. I should have known better, because my northern snakehead that I have is my record is 13.4. Come on back.
We need to bring you down. We need to bring you down here to catch the bigger ones. Yeah,
I love
we need to
I
get
love
you down here.
snakehead. So yeah, for sure. Anytime. So it's funny that you said that, because the lead fisheries biologist for Northern Virginia, his name is John Odenkirk. He is the world expert on, yeah. So I'm actually, I'm making him a butcher board, and I hope I'm not breaking up real quick. Let me turn my internet off on my phone. But I'm making him a butcher board because he took me out on their to do electrofishing, right? And in doing the electrofishing, it was getting numbers and counts for the northern snakehead here. It was badass. It was one of the best experiences I ever had. To get out there to watch his team in action, as they're rolling up and just kind of pushing up a quiet creek, which is where the world record was caught out of. And actually, I think 3 times over. So as we're getting in there and he starts to harvest the fish, because you got to pull out the ear bone, and unfortunately you have to do that. There was a couple moments where I was utterly silent, watching in awe, because I was like, oh my God, there's not many people who get to see this side of the house when it comes to northern snakehead, especially. And unfortunately, their numbers are down up here. Not to get off bass fishing and not to get off what we're here for, but their numbers are down significantly. So the numbers, as they're starting to decline, is because now you see naturally equilibrium, or I don't know. I guess I don't know the biology term for it, but homeostasis. We'll just say that as a whole. They haven't really they found it, but now they're on the decline. But
wow.
he did say it's just a matter of time before all 50 states do have them. So, and they come out of Asia. Great eating. I don't know if you've ever had them.
They're awesome.
Oh, it's definitely my top 2 of all time. They absorb whatever flavor you put on them. No fishiness whatsoever. You just got to remove that slime gland under the skin. Bad. Yeah. So,
Totally worth it. Totally worth it though.
it is. Oh my God, it is. It is. My wife hates fish, but she had that. I made it with some homemade teriyaki glaze. In fact, Greg Nozar, I made it with. He was over here one night with one of my buddies, and we made it for him too. And he was impressed. That's all I got to say.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
Yeah, good fishing though. Good fishing down there. So peacock bass for sure. I can't wait. Oh. So other titles, we talked about titles. We're going back and forth on this. So what's your real quick? I'm going to go to you, Mark, because you've been quiet real quick. What's your favorite catch or favorite memory of a catch that you've had recently? And how do you think that's going to be able to contribute to the team as far as your style of fishing? Do you dwell on that style of fishing that was that?
Sure.
catch?
So I guess recent catch. God, I don't know. I had a couple decent bass recently on some local ponds, but none of the ones that we compete on. But I guess I would consider myself kind of a power fisherman. I like to throw a worm like Chris. I like to flip. I like to throw, lipless crankbait, really, spinnerbait, kind of whatever the conditions dictate. I've done at least a little bit of any of that. I like to throw jerkbait, but throwing a weighted worm, something like that, tends to be, a go-to in Florida, regardless of where you are. So I do a lot of that, but, like Chris said, kind of as the wind or lake dictates, I will definitely get some other stuff into the mix. Being from Massachusetts and fishing in New York and, some of the Finger Lakes and some of the Great Lakes and throughout the Northeast, I feel like gives me, some good perspective on different things that, don't always work, but I'll at least try them. I'm super competitive. So, at the end of the day, I'm always looking at Chris on the leaderboard, which sucks, but looking up at Chris on the leaderboard, but there's been a couple of times where it's been reversed, but we have great competition at our club. It's one of the great things.
So your experience coming from the Northeast is going to be able to help.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So your experience coming from the Northeast, you're going to be able to.
Yeah, just I guess that gives me a little bit more perspective on some different things, and for the team, I think it's going to give a little bit different eyes on the water that maybe we're looking at, and in the Northeast, the weather's always changing, and kind of like Florida, where we get fronts, seems like every week, at least every 2 weeks, we're always dealing with that, so that'll play for sure.
Yeah, and especially now, I think you guys got there's a huge storm front that's moving from west to east, pushing along the eastern coast there.
Yes.
In fact, I think there's tornadoes in this that are. My bad. So, yeah. With that being said, you definitely have a little bit of weather your way, but we've had probably some of the strongest winds I can remember on record recently. But for me, it's been good. It's been really fruitful when I've been on the water, even though I've been trying to face that headwind, doing 34 knots. It is insane. I mean, that's when you get to be dangerous. In fact, I was the one idiot who almost sank my boat, only because that wind was pushing me back so much that it popped the breaker on my trolling motor, and the wind was pushing me back so fast. The second you stick an oar down in the water, it swings you right around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dangerous, but good, because now it's pumping all that fresh oxygen into the water, gets them all excited. But all that murkiness and turbidity starts to kick up, and now what? You got to go to those big swim baits, which is what I love. Oh, I love the big swim baits.
Yeah, the wind is kind of I have a love-hate relationship with the wind.
You and I both
hated the wind, but I guess especially being in Florida, it tends to help a lot, and so I just mentally tell myself that it's going to pick up and deal with it, because it definitely helps. Got
to put your time in, right? Got to put your time in. Yeah. What about you, Sean? So your experience in the military has pushed you all over the place. You said that you've traveled a lot. Where's your favorite place to fish?
That's a toss up between Florida almost takes it, but I have a love for South Carolina, to be honest with you. North Carolina is really where I cut my teeth in the Raleigh area, Jordan Lake and Harris Lake. If you don't know about those lakes, it's like the hidden secret up there because they're chock full of 7-pounders. But I caught my PB. Yeah. Go to Jordan Harris. That it's no secret. The locals know about it, but they don't like to talk about it. But I caught my PB actually on a small lake in Columbia, South Carolina, on Fort Jackson. Actually, when I was there as a drill sergeant, it was a 9.62 on a Alabama rig actually. But cutting my teeth, really getting really deep into fishing in North Carolina and South Carolina, it's a whole different style than here. My preferred way is a jig and a crankbait, like either a flipping a jig, a swim jig. Ryan knows, he's seen my box. It's one full box of striking hack tack flipping jigs along with like a Randall 4x4 jig. And then I have a box full of goat gambler swim jigs in every color. And if I can throw a crankbait and a jig, I'm pretty happy. But how I kind of perfected that was I would go out and I would tie on 3 or 4 different jigs, and that's only rods and only lures I would take out. And I did the same thing with the crankbait. That's how I learned. And really, if I can fish 25 feet of water with a 6XD and a 10XD in my hand, I also can't complain about that either. So
KBD, they got a good monopoly on that for sure.
Striking, the only downside is not really a 10XD, but the 6XDs and the 5XDs. You got to change out the hooks, but that crankbait out of the box, I don't know what it is about it, but it's between that and like a 6 cents crankbait, they're the two most effective crankbaits for me.
It must be the Army in you, because I got to say those are my 2 favorites as well. In fact, I just got a shipment in from Tackle Warehouse with all my 6 cents upgrades that I have. Plus, I change the hooks out regardless. It's just me. I've had too many hooks that started to bend after just a few fish, to where I'm kicking myself because I know that color's on fire. I don't have a backup color that's close to that, and I'm not going to sit there. I like that. And as we move into the whole crankbait season, which we already are in up here, I mean, they were on fire the other day to include chatterbaits. Those are my favorites by far. But that you have both ends of the spectrum. If you're jig fishing, if you're on a laydown, you can still throw that crankbait right there. In fact, the king himself, Kevin Van Dam, he said, always try to throw in that nook in a laydown. If you can toss it right in between and kind of split right there, you're going to hit him every time on a square bill.
I'm not going to release my secret on here. Ryan knows it. Mm-hmm. I'll tell the guys on the team, but there's a crankbait that works immaculate in Florida. Ryan knows what it is. And, but I was throwing that thing last year, and I just randomly took it out of the box one day, and I was fishing this secret body of water. I'm not going to release the name either.
Neither confirm nor deny what it is.
Ryan knows what I'm talking about too. But I was throwing that thing up in hydrilla. Didn't land the fish. I've caught a lot of 6 to 8 pounders out of this body of water, but I've hooked 2 that I'm pretty sure were 10 plus, and it was a red, black, and gold crankbait all the way in the back of her throat. When she jumped out, I could see the crankbait all the way in the back. She came down, came back up and jumped. It was out the edge of her lip, went down, came back up and popped it. But if really like a crankbait in Florida's, I don't think a lot of people do it, and they hit it like they've never seen it before. Even on like pressure bodies water, like Okeechobee being my favorite lake that I fished obsessively when I went down here, and all I did was tie on 2 flipping sticks, a 2 ounce and an 1.5 ounce punch weight. And I spent probably 6 months straight going to Okeechobee and just flipping mats and pencil reeds, and just to learn how to punch, because we don't do a lot of that stuff up north. So
technically and tactically proficient.
True.
That's one of the biggest questions I've asked all the teams that we had, especially. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one thing to know your prey, because we're hunting basically, right? It's one thing to know your prey, but it's another to be able to employ it. When you're on the water, it's different. I mean, you got to be able to think on the go and not get tunnel vision, which is kind of one of my biggest things that I fight myself against. I get tunnel vision on so many different things. On different occasions, I've kicked myself like, God, why didn't I throw this? It was one of those things where, I should have opened my eyes, but definitely agree 100%. So now, Tim, I appreciate it, Sean. So Tim, as a whole, what do you think your style of fishing best suits you is?
I'm a speed worm as well, Texas rig speed worm. I'll never turn down a KVD rodent. That's one of my big go-tos. It has been for years. I'm really just starting into the punch thing. So Chris got me excited about that.
I feel like there's a lot of, maybe you guys aren't really giving me everything you want to give me when it comes to information. So a lot of speed warmers here, huh? Okay. All right. No,
Oh yeah, it's
I
like
appreciate
it's like a mandatory in Florida.
Yep. Yeah. It works everywhere.
Do you think it's going to be able to be carried over?
Oh yeah,
It does.
Oh, yeah.
It really does. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I don't know from personal experience, but I know from when we've interviewed people, I've also mentioned that a lot and talked about it. So, Randy, what about you?
I'm going to live and die by the black horny-toed frog, and all these guys know that for a fact. It's just my go-to.
You're going to live and die by what? What was that?
By the horny-toed frog, Zoom horny-toed frog.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm a frog guy. I'll crash the pads. Yeah, I'll crash the pads all day long. That's one of my favorite things to do. Then I'll switch over to the worm, and then some sort of crankbait is the third, but I usually never get there. It's usually those two.
You stick with those two because they're going to be so fruitful for you, huh?
There you go. You have to stick with your confidence.
So real quick, I want to be able to take a look. You do. And it's not until I actually start throwing away from the confidence bait that I really start to figure out, what best suits me, what I actually like. Because, some people just don't throw baits. Like, I hate throwing a drop shot. Hate it. But I know if you fish it right, you're going to catch big bass. I mean, double-digit bass. So let's call it like it is. If you could throw it right on that pylon and just let it sink there, without having a hook set an 8-pound or 6-pound test, that's my problem. I'll go right back to muscle memory and I'll snap that line every time.
Right.
But real quick, I want to be able to bring up y'all's schedule and talk about your schedule real quick, if that's okay. Yep. I also want to ask you about the waters that you guys are going to be fishing. So bear with me. I want to make sure I'm doing a screen layout here for what's best. Oh, I still got you up there.
That's all right.
Hang on. I'm going to switch over the. Give me 1 second. Yeah, you said that's all right. Yeah, it is. That's a hell of a catch that you had up there.
Thank you. That was actually on the show with Chad at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so real quick, walking through the schedule here. This is one of the things that I know you guys, as the Deep South Kraken 2022 KFS schedule, you got a team meet up on the 429, but let's go into week number 1, June 4th, when everyone starts. So you guys are at the Copperheads. Now, I know before I kind of touched on it because I was reading this before we get to the Swamp Donkeys, and you guys are replacing the Appalachian Anglers and coming on the team fresh and brand new, but still in Florida, some of the biggest bass. You still are going to have a leg up on the team as a whole. I mean, don't you agree? Especially June 4th. I mean, you guys are post-spawn.
Yeah, we're in post-spawn. Actually, we've been in post-spawn for like 3 months because the weather's been so ridiculous down here.
Really?
It's actually confused the fish and been kind of crazy. So they're in all different stages. It depends on which lake you go to. If it's up north, it's going to be at a little bit of a later time. It's just it's bizarre right now. So we've kind of fluctuated between pre-spawn and spawn and everything else. Would you say that's right, Chris Mitchell?
Yeah, you're right about the different lakes, like the famous Keansville. I think there was like one last push about a week ago from other sources I've heard. But now it's just like Randy said, it's.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we lost him.
We lost him for a second. I mean, I was trying to make him the centerpiece, and I'm so sorry about that, brother.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, finish, Chris.
All right. Yeah. So like what Randy was saying, it really depends on the lake. Like Keansville was about a week ago. It's probably one good last push of the females pushing up. And that's because that water there gets a lot warmer faster than, say, Lake Kissimmee. So it really just depends on the weather and stuff like that. There might be one more good push on Kissimmee since that's still kind of warming up. So it's just, you have to play it by ear once you get on the water. You really don't know what stage they're on until you're on the water. So
right.
No, agreed. And especially when it comes to us as well up here in Virginia, we, like I said, I haven't seen any bloody tails. I haven't seen any nesting grounds whatsoever. No, definitely no eggs. They're still fat. They're still developing. The water up here has been pretty cold. I think 55, 54 has probably been the average the last few times I've been out.
Wow.
So it's still pretty low. You get to between 60, 65. I think 65 is in the days that get longer are going to be those cues. The old wives' tale that the bass will start to spawn the first full moon after the bullfrogs start croaking. I think that's a crock of crap, but because I heard the bullfrogs and it was the new moon or the first full moon was just this last weekend. They were hitting great, but they're definitely not spawning that.
Right.
You can see those bellies start to get full up. So what about the waters that you guys are going to be fishing? Can you tell us about?
Well, I mean, just with the three
where you're
teams
gonna be at
alone,
specifically.
yeah, just
What-
the three teams alone in Florida. They're all over the state, so they're all in different stages. They're all in different areas. In particular, we have the Harris Chain, Kenansville, and some of the other ones, and they're all different. They're all different. Every single one of them is a different phase in a different part of the state. So I know with the other teams that we have in the state, they've got other lakes that are different and diverse also. So
The copperheads, right?
the copperheads, and you also have the swamp donkeys. So I
Right.
mean, they're all different. They're all different. So we're excited to see what's going to happen when we go through our schedule and just get out there and fish with all these guys.
Yeah, put a game plan together. So I guess that kind of leads me as a segue into my next point. There's no same body of water that you guys will fish as another team. Everything is going to be separate or individualized, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Give you home field advantage on a lot of the stuff that you're going to be doing. So, but still, as in the state as a whole, if you guys are deep south, I take it you're down there by the Keys.
No, we're a little bit. So we run all the way from Homestead and we go all the way up to Mitchell, which is all the way up in Cocoa. So we run the entire East Coast all the way through. So we're just a team that's centralized. We call us the Deep South Krakens because why not?
I mean, Florida, right? Because you can.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I don't care what anybody wants to say or ask. It's your team. Make it what you want. Make it what you want as a whole, right? So, yeah, and some of the good things that you see when it comes to putting these teams together is all the diversity that everyone brings from their backgrounds, whether you're military, whether you're police, law enforcement, or whether you're coming from a different part of the country. I love it about your team because you have a lot of diversity. And I'm actually really excited to see how this is all going to play out as we get on here after the initial tournament on the 4th of June. All of us are going to be coming back on here from week to week. You're going to see a lot of visibility from all the other members. You're going to see those teams that are doing really well. Both teams are going to be able to come on and talk about this. So hopefully we can bring you back with the W a lot, especially coming from the Southern Division right there. Who's the team anchor?
Do we have to really do that online? No,
you don't have to.
Honestly, I'll be completely honest. The very last person that we talked to when we called everybody up was actually Chris Mitchell. Alan Sweat was right there, right before him, and then it was Chris Mitchell. So rounding out our entire 8, it would have to be Chris Mitchell because that's our anchor, as you would say.
Right.
I would say it's Randy Newton because listen, this is a team. Leadership matters. Attitude reflects leadership, and he's our anchor. So I'd say that's what I would say. I'm sure
I think that's a good point.
Some of our guys will agree with that. Your success as a team is indicative of how well you can be led and how good your leader is.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree, 100%, because obviously you're going to have to lead from the front. If you have somebody you can look to give you direction, to bring everyone together, or make on-the-spot decisions. I mean, that's military ethos 101, right? If we're talking about people who really, truly know how to lead. Not that there are, no bad leaders, but when we're talking about fishing, it really makes a difference, especially when you have people who are getting pushed down and out because they haven't caught fish. The team as a whole is what brings everything together. And I've been on that when I fished KBBT. I fished with someone, Blackbeard. He was up in the Northeast up there and up in New England. And let me tell you, he carried me for 2 of the days where I couldn't catch a damn thing. And looking back, it's good because he was humble about it. He was really good about it. He was like, listen, this is what we do as a team. Right. I'm originally from Iowa. So we had beat the team from there. I was like, yeah, okay, not really. They had some good numbers, but let's face it. Iowa bass do not get nearly as big as Florida bass or Virginia bass. They just don't. So it was one of those things where it was kind of a tough call. So do you want to give a shout out to any of your sponsors?
Yeah, actually, we're going to give a shout out to Fish USA. Come on board to team up with us. All of our anglers are supporting them. And then also we have 13 Fishing currently just come on board, and some other ones that we're working down the pipe right now. So currently right now, those are the two main ones, and still more to come.
Congratulations on that. Also, a shout out for KFL to Three Bells Outfitters and Rip It Energy Fuel. Gentlemen, I hope that you guys have a lot of success in this year coming up. We're excited to have you on board. We're hit about the hour mark right now. So anyone have anything you want to be able to throw out for the best of the team or for KFL, or just talking Bassin? Everybody's going to be quiet now.
We look forward to the season as a team. I know we're new, but I think we have a lot of charisma, character. We blend well together. I think this is going to be a great season. And don't be shocked if you see us all the way at the end.
I'm not actually. I got to say this. You guys are probably you're my second favorite team. Obviously, love to the Warhawks, but I got to say, of all the teams that we interview, not that the other ones are not great and not that they don't have that charisma, but you definitely have that good vibe. I'm feeling it. And I look forward to see what you guys can do, especially when it comes to some of those big hogs down with the Florida strain. With that being said, I hope I get an invite here towards the end so that way I can at least catch some of those big old beefy peacock bass, huh?
Oh, we will get you down here for sure, the guarantee. But yeah, we're incredibly honored. I am humbled by each of these gentlemen being on our team, and not only that, but I'm also humbled with the KFL and also the outreach that we've had from some of the other teams of just coming on board and kind of giving us a little bit of guidance and help, being able to jump in so quickly and to get on board. So again, thank you to all those that have already reached out to me and helped us along the way just in the past few days.
Outstanding, absolutely. And I got to say, when we heard that West Virginia had dropped out and that we had replaced it with a team already from Florida, I know that Greg had talked about how I'd reached out to you. It was almost an immediate turnaround. So good on you guys. That reflects highly.
It's not just me; it's these guys right here. So
as a whole, team as a whole.
Yeah, exactly. I had to give mad shout out.
With that being said, go ahead.
Sorry, I have to give mad shout out to Ryan and Chris. They kind of like help me out in the background a lot, and they help get this team together too. And they do a lot on the back end, so they are like silent partners and also owners, and they're just great all around guys. So thank you to these guys too.
Oh, outstanding for sure. And Chris, I got to say, I appreciate everything that you brought with the team as well. And you said it was Ryan as well, the other half. Right. So the cousins that were the one, La Familia, huh? I get it.
Brother cousins.
I get it. So, hey, I just got one thing to say: is are there any Buccaneer fans on the team?
I don't really watch football, so
okay. I was gonna.
What's football?
That's only bad mention.
Wow.
That's only good because hey, that tells me what your love is for Tom Brady, the GOAT. But that's okay. I'll leave it at that.
He is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT, though.
Is.
I'll give you that.
Hang on, I think I have. Did I hear an alarm? I thought I heard something. I saw my headphones. All right, guys. So with that, we're going to cut it loose on an hour. It is my alarm. I apologize. If you guys do me a favor, stay online. We're going to go ahead and end the broadcast here. Special shout out to everyone in KFL land, all our family out there. Remember, if 22 a day is 22 too many, thank you guys so much. We look forward to starting the year on June 4th in the KFL. For that, you guys have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you guys.